Welcome to our daily Forex market analysis, and this is for trading on January the 17th, 2020. All right, so as usual, we'll start off by taking a look at our economic calendar. Before that, just a quick disclaimer, this is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. All right, so let's take a look at our calendar here. It's been a few days since I have actually looked at the market, so please bear with me. I was away on vacation and I just got back, so thank you for your patience. All right, so in terms of our calendar here, first of all, today we had a bunch of data come out. So for the US here, the numbers were positive. And coming up here, we have GDP numbers out of China. And if we see that the numbers are not as expected, then we could see a negative impact. But actually, the data that has been coming out of China has overall been positive, and that's why we have seen an uplift in Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar as a result. But if that changes, then we can have a negative impact on Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar. So keep that in mind here. And then we are going into Friday here. A lot of times Fridays can be a reversal day, so do keep that in mind. But in terms of our news here, we do have retail sales numbers out of UK here, so that will be important. We also have this current account data for Eurozone. So if this number is below expectation, we could see a negative impact on Euro here. So Euro, we have with the trade negotiations or trade wars going on at the moment, and US, or I should say President Trump, threatening EU with tariffs, if the current account numbers are below expectations, that could be bad for the Eurozone, because now the concern would be there would be more tariffs, which means the current account number could go down even more. So if it's already negative before the tariffs actually come into play, that would be bad for the euro. So, and then other than that, we have building permits and housing start numbers from the US. Now, with these numbers, they weren't as important prior to the financial crash, but since then, these numbers have become important. So keep an eye on that. If they drop, then that would be negative for the US dollar. We also have the CPI numbers here for the Eurozone. So these numbers are the inflation numbers, and the central banks track these numbers. So if we see negative or we see below expectation numbers here for the CPI here, that would be negative again for the euro as well. We also have FOMC members speaking. So over the last few days, we have seen multiple FOMC members speak. So these can actually have an impact, because now we are into 2020 and the focus is on what the Fed is going to do. So Fed has been buying a lot of securities, and that's why we have seen the US equity markets have done really well, because the Fed is purchasing a lot of securities there. And now they haven't talked a lot about interest rate cuts at this point. If we see an indication that Fed may be ready to cut interest rates, that will have a negative impact on US dollar. So keep an eye on any of the comments that come out of this meeting. And that's how it will have an impact on the US dollar. We also have UOM consumer sentiment number. Consumer sentiment numbers basically show how the general people or consumers are feeling about the economy. If this number starts to decrease, that means there is less optimism in terms of where the economy is going to go, and that could have a negative impact on the US dollar as well if they're below expectations. But if they meet expectations, then I would not expect much of a difference here. All right, so let's go on to our charts. We'll start off with euro dollar as usual. We see that price has been trading in this range for a bit. So overall, we are seeing lower highs being made for euro here. Now, with the current level where it's at, it is into support here. So if price is not able to drop below 1.1120, then this one could go back up. But right now, a bias is to the downside. We have a nice bearish candle close here. So I will look for a further drop here. And in terms of the pullback, we could get a pullback into 1.1150. So that's the level to watch. And then I would look for a drop here. So bias here is bearish, and the target is 1.1100. Let me just pull this up, 1.1100. So bias is bearish for euro dollar. Pound dollar here. Pound has been quite strong here. We see price came into support, and now it's going back up here. So today's candle close is bullish. So bias is bullish here for euro. So look for a further move up in, sorry, not for the euro, pound. So look for a further move up here. So bullish bias in terms of the target here. We are looking at 1.3120. Excuse me. So bias is bullish, 1.3120 is the first target, and 1.3180 will be the second target. So bias here is bullish for pound dollar. Aussie dollar here, bearish bias here. We have a nice big bearish candle close. So pin bar here, looking for a drop. First target is 0.6880. So bearish bias. And then second target here would be 0.6850. New Zealand dollar, this one is a neutral here. We do have we had a big move to the upside, but then price dropped from there. So we have a large pin, but we still have bullishness in this candle. So bias is neutral, but we could get a retest of the high. So watch out for that. Bias is neutral, and this is the kind of move I would look for. As we can see, price has been trading in this range for a bit. And that's what I'm looking for price to stay within. Now, it could go to this outside range here into 0.6680. So that would be another level to watch. And then I will look for a drop here. So overall, bias is a neutral for New Zealand dollar, but do keep an eye out for it to go and test these higher levels. Dollar CAD here, this one hasn't really done much. We have seen that price has been trading in this range for a number of days now. We did see a move higher, but then price dropped, and here it's stuck now. In this case, today's candle close is neutral, but overall we see that price is making slightly lower highs. So I will look for a drop in this one. So we could see price go lower. But one thing to keep in mind is 1.3030 area here. This is the level to watch, because if price is not able to break below, this one could go back up just like it's been doing here. But it seems like there is more pressure to the downside now. It's starting to look a little heavier here. So bias is bearish in terms of our target here. We're looking at 1.30 will be the first one, 1.2950 will be the second target, but do keep an eye on this 1.3030 area, because this is a support resistance level that is important. Overall bias is to the downside for dollar CAD. Euro pound here, this one is bearish. We do have lower highs being made here for the last 3 days. Today's candle close is nice bearish candle close here. So looking for a drop towards 0.8450 here. So bias is bearish here for euro pound. Euro Swiss franc here, this one is neutral today. Overall bias still remains to the downside, but the candle close here is neutral. So in this case, what I will look for is a retest of 1.0760. If it holds below, then I'm looking for a further move to the downside here. And in terms of our targets, we do need to zoom out a bit and get a better view of where price is currently, because this one has been dropping nicely here. So the next target here would be 1.0620. So let's go back. So this is where we are with our price action back into these levels that we haven't seen for quite some time, but bias still remains to the downside here, even though today's candle is neutral. So as long as price stays below 1.0760, we could see a further drop here. So this one is quite far, 1.0625 here, but do keep an eye on 1.0650 level here as well, or sorry, 1.0680 level here as well. So overall bearish bias, but looking a little neutral here as long as it stays below 1.0760. I will look for a drop. Pound Swiss franc here. British pound has been strong. So we do have a bullish candle close here for last couple of days, or last 3 days here, including today. Price did try to test the lower level, did not succeed. So now we have a bullish engulfing candle close. So this one could move higher. Now, do keep in mind where it is currently. There is support resistance in that area as well. So if it doesn't get through 1.2620, then this one could come back down. But as soon as it goes to the other side, I will look for a further move higher here. First target is 1.2700 is the target here. But if it does not go above 1.2620, this one could drop back down towards the bottom of the range that it's been trading in. But overall bias is bullish. Dollar Swiss franc here, this one did go lower, and now we have a bullish pin bar here, which means we could see a further move higher. However, as we can see, it's right into resistance as well. So again, we need to keep an eye on how price reacts at this level, 0.9665. As long as it stays below, we're looking for a further drop here. But once it crosses to the other side, this one could go all the way up. And our target would be the top of this range here. So let's take a look. So in terms of the targets here, we have the first target is 0.9665. And if it stays below, then we could see a drop. But if it goes through, then we are looking at first target would be 0.9700. And then 0.9750. So bullish bias here, but do keep in mind the resistance level. Pound yen here, this one has gone up as well. It sat around here for some time, but it has pushed through. So we do have a bullish candle close, which means it could go further here, but we are into resistance as well, right into 144.40. So if it stays below this level, we could see price come back down just like it did previously. Now, should it go through, there's tons of room to the upside. 145.35 will be the next target to the upside here. So bias here for pound yen is bullish. Euro yen here, this one is looking a little neutral here. For last 4 days, price has been stuck in this range here. Now, it did go higher today, but it bounced off of that. So we do have bullishness in this candle. So overall bias still remains to the upside here. However, we are right into resistance here at 122.85. If it stays below this level, we could see price a turn around and come back down. So that's why this one could turn neutral. So keep an eye on Euro yen. Dollar yen here looking bullish here. It is also into resistance. So something to keep in mind, because if it doesn't go through 110.25, this one could also drop. But overall bias still remains to the upside here. And next target is 110.65. So bias is bullish for dollar yen. Aussie yen here, this one is looking neutral. We do see that price went higher, but it got rejected right from our resistance level here. So I am looking for price to come back down here. However, if all the other yen crosses start going up, this is likely to go up as well. First target here is 76.20 level, and if it stays below, I will look for it to come back towards the bottom of the range. So overall, this one has been range bound for the entire week, and as such, we could see a continuation of this. So neutral bias for Aussie yen, looking for it to trade between 76.20 and 75.50. New Zealand yen here, this one is looking bullish. We do have a bit of a pin here, but still bullish overall biases to the upside. And in this case, the target is 73.50. CAD yen, this one is looking quite bullish as well. And we have 84.80 is the first target here. And then we're looking at 85.20. So bias is bullish for CAD yen. All right, so next one here, pound in New Zealand here. This one has been stuck in this range for a bit now, so keep an eye on it. We are into resistance here, 1.9750, and this is the area that it's been trading in for some time. So at this point, first target would be 1.9750. If it doesn't go through, I will look for price to drop here. So there is a little bit of caution here, but overall, once it crosses that level here, the resistance here, next target is 1.9840. So this is the overall larger range it's been trading in. So the larger range that we see here is this one here. So that's the outside range. So once it gets through this resistance, I would look for price to go into the top of the range, which is 1.9840. So overall bias is bullish here for pound to New Zealand. Euro New Zealand, this one has actually dropped here. Euro was weaker today. So we have seen a drop in Euro crosses here. So bias is bearish here. In terms of the pullback, we could get a pullback into 1.6820. So that's something to keep in mind. But overall bias is bearish. Target here is 1.6700. So bearish bias for Euro New Zealand. EURCHF here, this one looks bearish as well. We do have a bearish candle close. So bearish bias for this one. Next target here is 1.4500, then 1.4450. So bearish bias for EURCHF. Pound CAD here, this one is looking bullish here. British pound has been quite strong over the last couple of days here. So this one's looking bullish. Next target here would be the top of this range. This one has also been trading in a bit of a range here, and therefore the next target is 1.7120, which is the top of this range here. So bias is bullish for pound CAD. Euro Aussie here, this one has been going sideways here. It's kind of stuck again in this range here. Today's candle close is neutral. Now it's kind of stuck here for a bit. So if it stays below 1.6165, I will look for it to drop. So this one, overall, we can say, or we can see that the high is lower today than it was yesterday. So this one could drop if it stays below 1.6165. It could go towards the bottom of this range here. So neutral bias here for Euro Aussie. Pound Aussie here, just like all other pound crosses, this one also looks bullish here. And target here, the first target would be 1.9020. And then beyond that, we're looking at 1.9100. So bullish bias for Pound Aussie. All right, let's take a look at commodities here. Silver, first of all. Silver candle close was very small today, so a little bit of a bearish candle close here. And looking for price to go down towards this little range it's been trading in for the last few days, 17.70. So bearish bias for silver. Gold here hasn't really done a whole lot today. Very, very small move. So bias is neutral here. This one could go in either direction here. This one could go a little bit higher into 1564. So something to keep in mind. But overall, neutral bias for gold. Copper here, a big drop in copper. So bias is bearish. And next target would be 2.79. And then should it drop further, we are looking at 2.77. So bias is bearish for copper. Bitcoin here, Bitcoin is running into some resistance. It couldn't get through the resistance level at 88 or 8900 coming all the way from here. So with that, we do have a reversal candle today. We have a bearish candle close, bearish engulfing. So once it gets through the support here at 85.50, then this one is likely to drop further. So bias is bearish. First target is 8,200. And then the second target here is 8,000. So bias is bearish for Bitcoin. Next one here, S&P 500. This one has been going crazy. Equities have done really well. We have seen Fed doing Fed doing security purchases here, and as a result, market has been very bullish. Now, other things that have happened are also, one, they have finally actually signed the deal, US and China trade deal, so that is positive for the markets as well. And then also the threat of an escalation has gone down as well between Iran and US, and that is a positive for the markets. So we have seen a further move up because of that as well. So all in all, there have been a number of things that have been positive, giving the equity markets quite a push higher. So bullish bias here, next target would be 3350. Now, many times Fridays can be reversal days, so keep that in mind. But overall bias is bullish here for S&P 500. 3350 is the next target. Nasdaq here, this one looking bullish as well. We have a solid candle close here. Next target would be 9180 is what I'm looking at here. So bullish bias for Nasdaq as well. And 9180 is the next target. But again, keep in mind the Friday scenario. Okay, and Dow Jones, again, looking quite bullish here. Next target is 29,500. So bullish bias for Dow Jones. DAX, on the other hand, hasn't really done a whole lot this entire week. It's been trading sideways, still stuck sideways here. Now, it hasn't broken through the support, so this one could go higher. 13,500 will be the target. Overall, stuck in a range, but we could see a move higher for DAX. FTSE here, FTSE has also just gone back and forth. It's been stuck in a range the entire week or for the last few days. We do have a slight bearish candle close here, so we could see a bit of a drop here towards 75.85, but overall it's just stuck. But see how far this one has gone up, and now it's just trading sideways at the moment. So looking for a slight drop, 75.85 for FTSE. And last but not least here, Nikkei. Nikkei is coming into resistance. Today's candle close is bullish, so we could see a further move higher into 24,175, and then that's our resistance. This is where price has turned several times before, and we could see a double top type of scenario. Keep that in mind. But overall, we could see a further move towards 24,175 and then a return from there. So slight bullishness in Nikkei as well. So something like this. And that is it for today. And I will be back with our weekly analysis on Sunday. Have a great trading day, and I will see you on Sunday. Bye for now.